Hey, and a very warm welcome. This is Joanna Hunter from joannahunter.com, and I am joined by my lovely student, Sara Walka of Sisters Enchanted. So please introduce yourself, Sara, and tell people a little bit about your business and what you're up to.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Well, firstly, thanks for having me, Joanna. Guys, I absolutely love Joanna. Um, so I am the owner of the sistersenchanted.com, where we create classes and communities so that enchanted sisters all over the world can come together, step into their light, and make some magic in their lives. So
I love that.
we talk about everything from the chakras to moons and everything in between, and really just encourage women to come together and live magical, fun lives.
Oh, I love that. It's so good. And when I first began speaking with Sara, we jumped on a quick call. You'd seen one of my adverts for Divine Planning Abundant Profits, and we jumped on a call together. And it became really, really obvious to me that you really kind of weren't in your ideal business because you were doing another business at the time. Isn't that right?
Yep, I was in education. I owned an education consulting business.
And Sara said, "Yeah, I really like the sound of divine planning, and I'll do it." And I said, "No."
Yeah, Joanna read me like a book. She took like one look at me and was like, "You are constricted, and this is not right for you. Stop trying. Stop trying to do that."
I know. Sorry, guilty as charged. But
No, it's awesome. She
I'm
called me.
so glad. I'm so glad. So what I basically said to Sara was that in her current business at the time, I was just not going to sell her Divine Planning Abundant Profits because I was like, this is really going to grow your business, and I don't want that business to grow because I know that you're not in the right business. And I had to kind of wheedle it out of you, like, what is it that you're really, really passionate about? And she was like, really, you were like really shy to start with. And it was like, I don't know. And then it was like, and then you started talking about literally what the Sisters Enchanted is right now.
Yeah.
And you started talking about the tarot, and you started talking about all types of woo and the moon cycles and the chakras, and your little eyes lit up. And I thought, yes, this is the business that you should be doing.
Yeah.
And I think you were quite like, oh, really? I'm, are you sure?
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you went down that route because it was absolutely what was meant for you. And so tell them a little bit what that was like, because it was really scary. But as it happened, it was the summer holidays, wasn't it? So you were
Yep.
anyway not really kind of working with kids. So
Right.
you were able to have like a bit of a break, and there was it was a kind of like okay, well, let's see if this works, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I literally got off with Joanna. And I think within 48 hours, I had purchased the domain and set up a website really fast, and just kind of took a deep breath and was like, all right, let's do this. And didn't spend time thinking about it too much. I think I was afraid I was going to think myself out of it, and I just leap of faith, and Joanna totally pinned me and was like, what you're doing is not right. And I could feel it in my body. I was like nauseous and anxiety ridden, and she was totally right. And you were totally right. And yeah, so like you said, it was summer break, and I just took a deep breath and did it, and full force ahead, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah. So in the 4 weeks during the course, you had some real big wins during that 4 weeks. I mean, one of the first things was that I don't know how many people you added to your email list, but I remember thinking, oh my God, that number is impressive.
Yeah. So during that first 4 weeks, I mean, I was like totally like zero list, zero following, because as I said, I just jumped in and
Brand
did it.
new.
Yeah. And so I started following the guidelines that and the advice from the class, and just was creating freebies and making a plan, and bringing people into these free classes and then into paid classes. And I mean, within those first 4 weeks, I probably had close to 1,000 people. Sorry, there's a bug flying around. Close to 1,000 people join get on my email list right off the bat
Amazing.
from trying to bring people in.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
And can you remember, because I remember the number of your your old list for your old business. Can you remember the number for your?
Oh my God, it was like nothing. I don't even remember what it was.
Well,
It was
I
a
remember
business,
you telling me it was 289 people, and you had worked that list for I don't know how many months. Like
yeah,
that
like
was it.
5 months, I think. Like I think 5 months because I had an in-person business and then I was trying to go online with it,
Yeah,
and I think 5 months I worked at
yeah.
that.
And then
And then
in 4 weeks, you added nearly like 1,000 people in the
yeah,
aligned business, and that's what alignment is all about, isn't it? Really, when you get that alignment and you really start going for it when you're in an aligned state, and you also as well have a system that makes it easy for you to grow your business, because that's the whole crux of divine planning abundant profits, isn't it? It's really just having a system in place that really helps you to grow your business. So tell people a little bit about the kind of impact that divine planning abundant profits has had on your business.
yeah, I mean a crazy one. So I will say I was a business owner with my education business. So it was a one-to-one in-person business. And then for 5 months I tried to bring that online. And one, I was completely out of alignment with that. But then also I didn't have a plan. I mean, I had taken all of these online classes about like hosting webinars and like, this, that, and the other thing, but nothing, it was all these things I needed to do. And like, it showed me how to do those things, but not like putting it together. When should I do this? What do I do now? Do I just do a webinar and then sell something? And then what happens? And this program really, it showed me actually like a map for my month, a map for my 6 months, a map for what was to come. Like, okay, so I'm going to um, promote this thing for these weeks, and then I'm going to run this freebie, and then I'm going to sell this thing, and I'm going to run it, and then I'm going to do this, like I'm going to do something else next. But it showed me a roadmap of what to do with myself and my time,
Yeah,
so that I wasn't just picking out of thin air, like, oh, okay, let's try this webinar technique and let's try this random thing and see what happens. And I
yeah,
think it was really, on top of being in alignment with what I was doing, that system that made it not overwhelming. Like I always knew what I was going to do next. I was never waking up that day saying, oh my God, let me stare at my computer for 20 minutes and try to guess at what I should be doing. I always knew what my,
we've all been there, right? With staring at
yeah,
that computer, waiting for the inspiration bunnies to take root, and
right.
it's such wasted time.
Yeah.
um and when you have that plan in place and you wake up in the morning, you know exactly what's needed from you
Yeah.
that day. It takes care of the daily tasks, but it makes sure that the daily tasks are leading towards profit, whereas before the daily tasks could be like misfiring and leading all over the place, but not really maybe necessarily always leading towards profit.
Yeah, and two, when I have a plan in place, and if I do wake up that day and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to run a flash sale or I'm going to do this random thing, I know what it is that I'm building towards at that moment, so I know how to insert something relevant, into that. So it's not random and it's not kind of out of left field for my audience. It makes sense and it still leads up to what I'm going to be doing because I know where I'm going. So it's really easy to kind of insert that little, random cash influx if
Yeah.
I know where I'm headed.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, because a lot of people, and especially spiritual entrepreneurs, they worry when I talk about planning because they're like, oh no, I'm so not a planner. I just like to do things off the cuff. But actually, having the plan there is like a framework, which then allows you to be inspirational and go with inspired action, because you're not spinning your wheels on the
Yes.
other stuff, and you're not like wasting time on the other stuff. The other stuff's kind of taken care of, and then you can act on that inspired action without thinking, oh my God, do I have the time for this?
Oh yeah. I totally, at least twice a month, I would say I randomly create something or an offer or just offer some kind of promotion or figure I'm going to do some random live event or something, but it totally makes sense and it helps build me in the long run because while it's creative and inspired action, it's still relevant, which is,
Yeah.
really important if you're building a business.
Yeah. So are you comfortable enough to share some figures with people, what you've built in your business? Because I am so proud of you. I mean, you've really not only am I proud of, obviously, of the money that you've made in your business, but that money translates to people and lives
Yeah.
that you have touched. I mean, it's just, you're literally bringing everyday magic, which is actually one of the names of your courses, is actually bringing in everyday magic into the lives of people and into the lives of women's homes, and bringing it into their homes and making it a part of their everyday. So one of the things that I'm so passionate about, and why I'm so passionate about, you know, helping spiritual entrepreneurs, is the fact that we are raising the vibration of the planet. So when I hear that my students are doing amazing, it means I'm like, yes, we're raising that vibration. And I know that you've been really committed to that yourself, and working away. So you've had quite a lot of financial success in how it all went. So do you want to describe a little bit how that kind of went?
Yeah. So I would say my very first course that I attempted to sell, or I did sell. I sold, it was a little over, it was last summer. So when I randomly decided to on a whim do this, my very first attempt at sales was 4 sales at $37 each. So not much, you know. And I barely, I think, even broke even on a few Facebook ads that I ran. And then this month, I'm closing in this month at well, as of this morning, a little over $7,200 US. I'm in the US, the US dollars. So, you know, about a little over a year ago, with the Sisters Enchanted, 4 sales at $37 each. Fast forward to this morning, last I checked, it was a little over 7,200. Got about 300, well, last I checked, over 360 some odd students, individual students on my course site.
Amazing.
And my email list is, I think, about 8,000 people, a little around there. You know, I just started running some more ads today, so somewhere around 8,000.
It's amazing.
So yeah, progress has been just crazy since I took the class.
It's been amazing.
Keeps
And
going.
at first you were kind of applying bits of the course, but then you decided, right, I'm going to knuckle down, I'm going to really apply the whole system.
Yeah.
And that was in November, October time last year.
Yep.
And you hit your income goal for the first time in February.
Yep.
And has it just been going like this?
Yep. It's just been going up. So I took the class, and I was, you know, like, aware of the system and aware of what we learned in the class. And it was in the back of my mind. But then around October, November-ish, I sat down, I printed off everything again, and I filled everything out, and I took out a calendar, and I totally followed the system. And February was the first time I hit my income goal. And yeah, since it's gone up every month. And I will say too that the entire time I did this and following your plan, I was pregnant this whole time with a toddler at home also. So, you know, the plan definitely, I don't know what I would have done had I not. I just had a baby in May, and so now I have a 2-month-old and a toddler, and I'm still, you know, my best month yet. And I really think without this plan, without this system, I think I would still be, you know, making money, but waffling around, stressed out, you know, it would be totally random. And it's really made all the difference since I sat down and fully implemented the plan, and I follow it every month, you know, every day I use it. I have a whole section in a binder. That's my Joanna section, all my printouts. and I go through everything at the beginning of the month and check in with where I'm at. It's totally helpful.
And, you know, it's so good to have that check-in points as well. And that's often missing in other people's businesses as well. Like, they don't check in. They're not really assessing what's working, what's not working, and things like that. And we do all that in the program. We assess what's working, what's not working, so we can do more of what's working, basically. And it's so exciting just to see how it goes, because exactly Sarah's story is my story. That's exactly what happened. I took the system, I developed it, and then applied it to my business, and exactly the same thing. Like, the more that I did it, the easier it became to hit those income goals. And then it was just like, just coming around. And then it got to this point, and I'm sure that you're probably at this point yourself as well, where you start to realize that your business has its own momentum. Like it's like a bit of a juggernaut at that point. And
Yep.
you start to realize, like, even if you take like a couple of days off, people are messaging you going, hey, I want to buy this thing, or
Yeah.
I was looking at this thing, or like that. And you realize, like, hey, I like literally taking my hands off my business for a couple of days, and people are still, like, it's not all imploded. And that was, I
Yeah.
think, for many business owners, that can be a huge fear, isn't it? Like, if I take my hands off the wheel,
Yeah.
that's it. It's all going to come crashing
Totally.
down.
I don't know what I would have without this system and the momentum that I had built up in my business following the system, as it's written. Like I said, I had a baby in May, and you know how babies come when they're ready to come, and mine came early, totally unexpected. I still was, kind of had some things to do and my plans laid out, but I was in there in the hospital bed, and getting my PayPal notifications and random sales from random courses, and like an email from this person saying, oh, I saw this on your website, like I'd like this, I'd like to sign whatever, and I'm just like, this is so cool. I'm literally lying here with my newborn baby, like making money.
No. It is. I mean, it's one of the sweetest feelings ever. Like when that PayPal dings and you're maybe, doing something completely other. I mean, like obviously, like having a baby. But I remember being
Yeah.
down in sitting having lunch with my daughter, and I was taking her down to Edinburgh, which is something that I had never really been able to kind of like. It was something that very rarely happened before, and then to be able to afford to take it to go down on a girls' weekend, pay for hotel, pay for accommodation and the travel, um and obviously like a big a trip for shopping and things like that. And it was really, really nice, and we're sitting having lunch, and my phone goes ding ding, and I looked down at it, and I lifted up and I looked down at it, and my daughter says, what was that? And I said, that was the sound of your mom making $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was, and some of the things like that is so sweet when that happens in your business. And
Yeah.
I think that happens when your business has its own momentum,
Yeah, for
and you're not
sure.
really having to push or hustle, because I am the anti-hustle queen.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that word at all. But when you don't really feel like you're having to like push to make
Yeah.
things happen, that you've got a plan in place, you execute the plan, and then the business itself starts to build that momentum. And people, even if you take your hands off and you take a few days off or you take a week off, there's
Yeah.
still people interested, still people contacting you wanting your things.
Yep, for sure. It's all about that system.
It's good. It's all about the system, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
over in Divine Planning Abundant Profits. We are all about that system.
Yes.
So if somebody was sitting here, they're maybe been in business a while, and they're maybe been spinning in their wheels, feeling a bit frustrated. They might own a ton of, and I don't want to name any names, but they might own a ton of $2,000 courses right there, like we do, right? So they
Yep.
own a ton of them. What would you say to them about Divine Planning Abundant Profits? What would it do for their business?
Oh my God. It's like the missing puzzle piece. I mean, I have my own share of $2,000 programs. And what I found about this one is it's it's almost so simple, but so important that you're like, duh, this is the thing that I've been missing. I've taken all these things, and it's like, how to do this, how to do that. But it's so simple and amazing that it's the one thing you're really missing. If you have all this other stuff and you know how to do webinars and whatever, but you're just still kind of floundering around or like trying really hard to make that money, this is the little piece of the puzzle that is going to bring everything together, and it's going to do it for you. And honestly, if I had taken this, I wish I had foregone the $2,000 classes, because a lot of that stuff I learned kind of DIY style and didn't really reference the classes that much. And this was the thing I was missing. It was the structure I needed. but in a gentle way that doesn't feel super constrictive or anything like that. And it really was all the difference. I mean, this is by far the best investment that I've made
Oh,
in my
wow.
business by
Thank
far.
you. I am I'm so excited that you were part of the Divine Planning Abundant Profits alumni. It's so awesome to have you there in the community, and also as well knowing that you're doing the amazing work that you do outside the community, but just seeing your star in a way rise has been just such a pleasure for me. And I think also as well some of the other students in there as well, because the community is really lovely, and everybody's, you know, if you do post in the group, everybody's like dead helpful and really
Yeah.
nice and stuff like that. So it's nice, you know, where we get to know each other a little bit. And of course, every round where I do a live round of Divine Planning Abundant Profits, students from all different groups and from all different rounds are invited. So we have students at lots of different levels, which is really cool as well. So there's lots of perspective to be offered on the live calls as well.
Yeah, and that's another awesome thing about your community is that these other groups that I'm in for free classes, um, I have them all set to like not follow the group except for yours, and I don't know, it must just be your energy and your vibe, because there's never anything in the group that's like makes me, kind of cringe or like, oh, I don't know, I don't even want to read that. Where other groups, there's, sometimes it's just like a real whiny energy, or like somebody just fix my problem energy. And I don't,
Mhm.
there's none of, it's all lovely people, lovely energy. And,
Yeah,
I,
I mean, it's a
I,
real vibe, I think, of real, it's really, and I think some of them are at the foundation level and some of them are higher, but I see every single person in the community that comes with Divine Planning Abundant Profits as a spiritual leader in their own right of, they're doing it in their way.
mhm,
And I've got a real bee in my bonnet at the moment about kind of recognizing people as spiritual leaders when they are. If you want to make somebody else's life better through whatever medium that you choose to do that, I believe that that's a spiritual leader. And I'm really passionate about bringing spiritual leadership into our communities instead of it feeling like it's this far off guru or somebody like the Dalai Lama or Gandhi
exactly.
or Mother Teresa, which is kind of quite far removed from our own communities, and to actually look at these kind of sheroes that live in our own communities that are doing great work and
Yeah.
helping people to connect to something larger than themselves. And that, in my opinion, is a spiritual leader. And I think one of the things that really stands out in the community is that there is leaders at every level. There's leaders
Mhm.
that are maybe just going, oh, maybe I am a leader. And then there's this leader like, yeah, I'm claiming this now. I'm calling myself a leader. I'm stepping into that fully and I'm
Yeah.
fully claiming it. And so it's so nice to see that to see all of the levels of that. But, it is my hope that everybody who's in the community will eventually step fully in and owning their own spiritual leadership, however they choose for that to look. It doesn't have to follow a genre or anything. It can be how
Right.
they do it. But it's about connecting people to something bigger than themselves.
Yeah. I love it. Love it.
Cool. I am so thankful and so grateful that you took out some time from your busy schedule, and also as well your beautiful background there. I'm so jealous of all the sun. Thank you so much, Sarah. Please let everybody know where they can find you. And I think you've got something for them to sign up to. So I'm going to make sure I put the link with this video as well so that people can sign up for your awesomeness.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. You can find us at the sistersenchanted.com, and I'm offering a free magic week in a couple weeks starting August 14th. We're going to talk about a little bit about everything, a different topic each day: chakras, the moon, tarot, super simple everyday magic. And you can find that at the sistersenchanted.com/magic week. And you can find us on
Oh,
Facebook at the Sisters Enchanted.
brilliant. Well, I'll make sure I get that link and I'll link it to this blog post. So
Thanks.
thank you so much. Have you got any parting words for anybody that is sitting on the fence, wondering about Divine Planning Abundant Profits? Is it for them?
Oh my gosh, do it. Stop wondering and just do it. Promise you, I have signed up for those $2,000 classes. I've signed up for $12 things, and this is by far the game changer, and the thing that I needed to just make sense of what I was doing. And I'm telling you, it works. It works. I'm living proof that it works.
I know, and it's so exciting to see you scaling your business to that 5 figures a month and beyond, hopefully. But
Yeah.
I can see you getting there. We're reaching
Right around the corner.
And it's so cool. It's so cool. I mean, like, I'll be as excited as you are when your business hits that really magic number.
Yeah, you'll be the first one I message that day.
I know. Well, you'll have to scream down the messenger at me, going eek, and I'll know what that means.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
No, an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Bye now.